Hi everyone, and welcome to this Melodrive tutorial video. In this video I'm going to be teaching you about musical seeds, which are not only a way for you to have a much more predictable music experience for personalizing the music in your game, but also have some great features for adaptive music and gaming in general. So here we have our open scene, and I've added the Melodrive prefab here. And I've clicked the play on start. I've left the style and emotion to the default values. And as you've hopefully noticed in the last few tutorial videos, every time we enter play mode, Melodrive will generate a completely new piece of music for you. So let's just hear that in action now. So there we had two completely different tracks that are generated by Melodrive, and no matter how many times I enter into play mode, I'll always get something slightly different. But sometimes though, you'll want to have the same piece of music to play. So you might want to decide on a main theme for your menus, or to be associated with a certain character or area in your game, for instance. And in linear music, like in film music or traditional video game music, this would be called a musical theme. And a great example that you probably know is the Super Mario theme tune. The great thing about musical themes is when composers use them in different styles. Here's an example of the Super Mario theme in a slightly different style. Or you could play the musical theme in a different emotion. And here's an example of the Super Mario theme in a sad emotion. Melodrive's musical seeds are similar to musical themes in that you can have the same music material expressed in different styles and emotions. But the unique thing about Melodrive's musical seeds is that the music is infinitely varied over time, and the emotion can seamlessly adapt in real time as well. Okay, so let's have a look at that. I've gone ahead and set up a few things in this scene already. So we have a canvas, a UI canvas here, with a few UI elements in it. So firstly, we have a drop down here, which is going to be a way for us to select between different musical seeds in Melodrive. And then right next to that drop down, we have a button, which we're going to use to create new musical seeds. And then down here, we have a save button, which we're going to use to save a seed that we like, and a load seed button, which we're going to use to load the seeds that we've saved previously. I've also created a script on the canvas here called musical seeds. And if I switch to that, we'll see that I've already gone ahead and grabbed the Melodrive plugin and grabbed the seed select dropdown, which we're going to use later. And I've also created a few callbacks here for the seed changing, the new musical seed button, load and save buttons. And I've already hooked them up to the button. So for instance, on the new musical seed button, we have the callback here, the click callback going to on new seed on the musical seed script. So just to show you that these are hooked up, I'm going to enter into play mode and click a few buttons. Nothing will happen, but we'll see the messages printed out here on the console. Okay, so our UI buttons are hooked up correctly. Now I'm going to switch over to Visual Studio The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to an event that Melodrive fires when a new musical seed is created in the system. And I'm going to use that to populate our musical seed dropdown. So the event that we're going to listen to is called new musical seed. I'm going to add a new musical seed handler on that. And we're going to pop that down here. And the new musical seed handler takes the seed name as an argument. And we're just going to log that out to the console. So now whenever a new musical seed is created in Melodrive, we'll see that logged in the system. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hook up the new musical seed button to Melodrive to ask Melodrive to create a new musical seed for us. And the method that I'm going to use to do that is this create musical seed method, which also takes an argument, which is set active. Now you can create musical seeds in Melodrive and not actually activate them if you want to set up, say, 3 seeds in advance and then choose when to activate them. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and activate these seeds immediately. So let's see what that sounds like. Every time I click this plus button, a new musical seed should be made, and that musical seed should be printed out to the console here. So there we see that it's working. We actually see 2 musical seed names being printed out. Don't be too confused by that. One's being printed out by Melodrive and one's been printed out by our callback. Okay, now whenever a new musical seed is created, we want to update the dropdown. So I'll do that now in our onMusicalSeed method with some code that I prepared earlier. So I'm just going to paste that code in. I'll just get rid of that. So firstly, we want to clear all the options of our seed select dropdown. This is the important line here. This method, getMusicalSeeds, retrieves a list of all the musical seeds that Melodrive currently has. So these are the options that we want to have in our dropdown. So I'm going to create a list of options here, dropdown option datas, then go through our seeds and create a new option item. And then finally, we're going to just add all the options to the dropdown. So if I go back here and enter into play mode, we see that the dropdown has been updated with seed 1. And when I add a new seed, it's right here in the list, but we haven't actually updated the dropdown to display the correct value there. So what I'm going to do is do that here. Okay, now when we switch back, we should see the seed not only being updated, the dropdown, but also selecting the correct value. So I'm going to click New Seed. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hook up this drop down so that I can select seeds from that list, and then they'll be set as the current seed in Melodrive. So I'll do that in my onSeed change method that I've hooked up previously. And all I'm going to do is call the md.set musical seed method, and the seed name is going to be whatever the drop down value is. Now when I go back here, I create a new musical seed. I can go back to seed 1. And we'll hear the same musical seed. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up our Save Musical Seed button so that we can create new musical seeds, and when we find one that we like, we can actually save it to the file system. So I've already hooked up the onSaveSeed method here, and I've also already created a little snippet of code which I've just pasted in there. So what this is doing is I'm getting our current seed that we've selected in the drop down, and that's just the name of the seed. So by default they're called seed 1, seed 2, etc. Then I'm creating a file name for that seed, and the file name is going to be it's going to sit in our assets path, and we're just going to call it the same name as the musical seed itself. And then we're going to call the Save Musical Seed method, pass in the name of the seed that we want to save, and the path to the file where we want to save it. And it's as simple as that. So if I switch back to Unity now, make sure that the streaming assets path is selected down here, I should be able to see that new seed pop in when I click save. And sure enough, if we look in Streaming Assets, Seed 1 has been saved. Now let's find out how we can load the seeds. This one we'll do slightly differently. We'll actually call up a file dialog here, and we'll go through and we'll select the seed to load. So again, I've prepared a little snippet which I'm just going to paste in here. So what I'm doing here is I'm just using the Unity editor's loading mechanism. You'll need to, if you want to expose this to your end user, you'll need to implement your own way of browsing the file system. I'm just using this for speed. So we're going to select, this will select a file to load, and then we're just going to end up calling the load musical seed with the file name. So if I press play now, Melodrive will create a new seed one, but then I can load the seed one that I saved previously. So that's it for this video. I've taught you about the musical seeds feature of Melodrive, and I've shown you how you can create musical seeds, change them, save them and load them. If you want to find out more, there's actually a musical seeds example which you can have a look at, number 6, and the saving and loading feature is also included in the projects example. In the next tutorial, I'll show you how you can hook up your game objects to visually react to the music that Melodrive is playing, using a bunch of different event callbacks that Melodrive exposes. So you can check out that and the other tutorials on our channel, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time.